Hey, I'm going to do a quick review today on this Ryobi benchtop belt and disc sander. So this Ryobi, it's the Home Depot brand. It's this version's a 4.3 amp, half horsepower motor. It's a combination disc and belt sander. It's a 6-inch disc and a 4-inch by 36-inch belt. Pretty common for your basic benchtop sander combination here. First thing we're going to talk about is the price. So this one from Home Depot was around $160. On the cheap end, you have brands like Win, where you can get one for about 120 bucks. Then kind of the next level up, you have Porter Cable, and some others start coming in around the $250 area. The reason I went with this one is really just because it's backed by Home Depot. Ryobi, while it's an entry-level brand, having that security of knowing that if it craps out in a few months, I'm just going to take it back to Home Depot and I'll be able to get them to take it back. That sense of security for a cheaper product is totally what I'd be looking for, instead of like some of the reviews I'd read on the Win one for people who just went with the most entry-level, cheapest one they could go for, and then talk about it crapping out a few months down the road and they're totally at a loss because they're not going to have that same level of service. So from a price standpoint, about 160 bucks. It meets my expectations for that so far. All right, so to get into some of the things I like about it, it's extremely lightweight and portable relative to what you would expect, with the heavy base still being sturdy enough that I don't have it fastened into anything. I've been sanding with it on the ground, not on this table. I just put it up here for this video. But you could buckle it in or screw it into a work table and make it truly a benchtop sander. I like its portability, so that to me is a plus, while still being sturdy enough as an overall machine. I like its flexibility and ease of use. It's pretty easy to change out the belts here, pretty easy to just pull off and change out the sandpaper. The belt raises up or stays down flat like this, so that's pretty easy. All of these pieces honestly are really easy to work with. You can easily remove this table, you can remove this guard. Also on the back here, it's got a little a hose attachment where it'll spit out the dust, and you can attach that to a shop vac. Once again, nice and easily, so it's an easy machine to work with. And it gets the job done really well. So I think the motor's pretty solid. And some of the other entry-level brands, there were a lot of reviews and complaints about the belts just stopping if you're putting too much pressure on them. I put a lot of pressure on this. I work it pretty hard, and it takes off a lot of stock and when I want it to, and doesn't buckle up or anything like that. So I'm definitely pleased with all of that, especially considering the price point. The only realistic downsides, again, considering that this is an entry-level kind of price point, are that the guard and the table here are a little bit flimsy, and I don't trust the accuracy of the degree measurements and things like that. So when I'm using it and wanted to count on right angles or 45-degree angles, anything like that, I had to kind of over-calibrate. And that's something I've noticed. The table's a little bit flimsy. It can kind of move around, and I don't really trust the angles or anything like that. So that's one downside to consider. But again, realistically, for the price you're paying for it, I think it's not a big deal. It's something that you should kind of go into it understanding you're not going to have the most fine-tuned precision and everything like that. Not as much a downside as long as you're aware of it, but also note that the on-off switch just kind of flips really easily. So for example, the machine came to me mostly assembled. I only had to add the guard and the table here basically, and the sandpaper. But it was in the on switch, it had just easily flipped like that. So I wasn't really paying attention, plug it in, and boom, the thing starts going. So just, pay attention to little things like that. There's not really a guard, it just easily flips on and off. And other than that, that's the real downside, again, from a realistic perspective. not many downsides. It's overall, I think, a really good deal. $160 for a pretty well functioning baseline benchtop sander. So there you have my recommendation, and good luck.